Hello, hello. Oh, I have the category is Minecraft. Okay, hold on. I think it's just chatting. Yeah, we'll just have it under just chatting. Hello. We are going to continue reading The Hunger Games. Yo, any bile for the sub, dude? They've been subs for 13 months. I love you. We are going to read chapters 6 through 10. Oh, hey. Turning in on my way home from work. Hell yeah. Thank you, thank you. Um, I'm trying something different, something new. Rico, let's go. Doing a little something different, something new, little audiobook type shit. Reading The Hunger Games. Uh, yeah, we're gonna do it. It's Rico from work. Um, hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Um, yeah. First, within like the first 5 or 6 minutes, there's gonna be a 3 minute ad break. Um, so just so we can kind of speed it along, um, I'm gonna put the 3 minute ads now, just so they're out of the way. Uh, just so we can speed this along and all that. Um, but yeah, we're gonna continue the Hunger Games. I will have an assistant, a little buddy, push the old school CRTV with DVD driver cart into the window. Who is RC? It's a surprise. I'm gonna hit you with the ads right now. But we're gonna have a little show, a little presentation, a little bit for each chapter that we read. Um, yeah, so we're gonna run the ads now, just so they're out of the way. And then once they are done, we will continue on with a very chill, very relaxed, PG bedtime story. All right. Thank you, thank you. We will be right back after these messages. Oh my god, it'd be so hilarious if it was an ad for Sunset of the Reaping. Oh my god. Could you imagine? You want God of War! Um, honest to God, I could probably. I can make that work. I could make that work, actually. There's a way. I know there's a way. I can make it work. Um, I can make it happen. I want God of War! Um, we can make that work. But like by the time I get to 2018 and all that, I'd have to fuck with Ethernet cable. Um, I don't know. See, like I want to stream with like my PS5 and everything. That might be the trick. Once we get to like 2018 God of War, I think I'll just have the stream right off PS5, so you don't see skeleton. But it's okay. You want God of War. I mean, plus we'd have like God of War 1, 2, and 3. Chains of Olympus. Or Ghost of Olympus. I remember I played through the PSP God of War Ghost of Sparta, I think, in one sitting. PCSX2, yeah. No, I think I have that set up. Yeah, I should have that set up. That's how I did the whole Yakuza thing. Um, 4K upscaling. We'll talk how we do this tomorrow. Um, tomorrow I'll look into it, or after the stream I could look into it. Um, and then get the balls in motion. Because I want to finish Chrono Trigger. I want to get back into Expedition 33. I want to finish up Hollow Knight, and then of course Hunger Games series. And then Silk Song when after I finish Hollow Knight. Um, yeah. So we got a good bit away. 30 seconds left in the ads. I'm gonna show those who subscribe a little sneak peek. of the scene. Hi, it's me. I'm on this bed with the book in my hand. And above me are 3 banners. One is The Hunger Game. 2 is going to be Catching Fire, and 3 is going to be Mockingjay as we read along. It's going to be great. The Hunger Games, yes. So I already put up the banner here for The Hunger Game. And then I forgot that like I made that Susie emote like transparent. It fits it fits in the text box. But yes, welcome. Are we all here? Ads are done? Yes. Okay, so we are going to read chapter 6. You can read along. You can look up the chapter if you want to. We are going to read it. And with my help of my helper over here. Hey. Get over here. Come on. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, bro. All right. Oh, he's gone. Hold on. Don't be mean, he's trying his best. Oh, he's shy. Hold on. We're okay, bud. We're all right. Yeah. It's all right. No need to worry about anything. Oh, he's shy. Yeah, look at him go. All right. Yeah. He's gonna go away now. But on the TV. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, he turned it on. Okay, hold on. All right, now turn the TV back on. Bing. Right. Okay. So, on the TV is a video called The Hunger Games But Better. And we are currently in the training center part of the book. And so I'm going to read up to a certain part where they're past this kind of thing. I want to do like chapter by chapter, but this parody is based on like the movie plus a little bit of book info. So I think I'm going to read the book until they're out of the training center just to be sure. Poor Bud is stuck in walking motion, by the way. He's so cool. I love him. That's going to be a bit, I think. Okay. If you remember correct. All right. Well, should we keep bro here? I think we should like let him chill out, right? I feel like people are going to get confused when they join the channel. And they're like, why the fuck do you have a skeleton just moping? I'm like, bro, he's moving the cart. Okay. Okay, you know what? Turn off the TV. What's his name? I forgot his name. Turn off the TV. Alright. Now, just move this back. Back in there. They'll be in the training center for 3 days. I forgot how many chapters it was. Okay, well, at least we're reading chapters, like, 6 to 10. Okay. Alright. We are going to start chapter 6. The training center has a tower designed exclusively for the tributes and their teams. This will be our home until the actual games begin. Each district has an entire floor. You simply step onto an elevator and press the button of your district. Easy enough to remember. I've ridden the elevator a couple of times in the Justice Building back in District 12. Once to receive the medal for my father's death, and then yesterday to say my final goodbyes to my family and friends. But that's a dark and creaky thing that moves like a snail and smells of sour milk. The walls of this elevator are made of crystals so that you can watch the people on the ground floor shrink to ants as you shoot up into the sky. It's exhilarating, and I'm tempted to ask Effie Trinket if we can write it again, but somehow that seems childish. 6-7. Okay. Apparently, Effie Trinket's duties did not conclude at the station. She and Hamish will be overseeing us right into the arena. In a way, that's a plus because at least she can be counted on to Coral. Just getting home. Have a great stream, my guy. Thank you, thank you. Probably passed out somewhere. Oh, wait. Corral around us to places on time, whereas we haven't seen Hamish since he agreed to help us on the train. Probably passed out somewhere. Effie Trinket, on the other hand, seems to be flying high. We're the first team she's ever chaperoned that made a splash at the opening ceremonies. She's complimentary about not just our costumes, but how we conducted ourselves. And to hear her tell it, Effie knows everyone who's anyone in the capital, and has been talking us up all day trying to win us some sponsors. I've been very mysterious, though, she says, her eyes squint half shut, because of course Hamish hasn't bothered to tell me your strategies. But I've done my best with what I had to work with. How Katniss sacrificed herself for her sister, how you've both successfully struggled to overcome the barbarism of your district. Barbarism? That's ironic coming from a woman helping to prepare us for slaughter. And what she's basing our success on are table manners? Everyone has their reservations naturally. You being from the Coal District. But I said, and this was very clever of me, I said, well, if you put enough pressure on a coal, it turns to pearls. Effie, no. What the fuck? Effie beams at us so brilliantly that we have no choice but to respond enthusiastically to her cleverness, even though it's wrong. Coal doesn't turn to pearls. They grow in shellfish. Possibly she meant coal turns into diamonds, but that's untrue too. I've heard they have some sort of machine in District 1 that can turn graphite into diamonds, which I'm pretty sure that's... Yeah, no. But we don't mine graphite in District 12. That was part of District 13's job until they were destroyed. I wonder if the people she's been plugging us to all day either know or care. Unfortunately, I can't seal the sponsor deal for you. Only Hamish can do that, says Effie grimly. But don't worry, I'll get him to the table at gunpoint if necessary. Although lacking in many departments, Effie Trinket has a certain determination I have to admire. My quarters are larger than our entire house back home. They are plush like the train car, but also have so many automatic gadgets that I'm sure I won't have time to press all the buttons. The shower alone has a panel with more than 100 options you can choose, regulating water temperature, pressure, soaps, shampoos, scents, oils, and massaging sponges. When you step out on a mat, heaters come on that blow dry your body. Instead of struggling with the knots in my wet hair, I merely place my hand on a box that sends a current through my scalp, untangling, parting, and drying my hair almost instantaneously. It floats down around my shoulders in a glossy curtain. I program the closet for an outfit to my taste. The windows zoom in and out on parts of the city at my command. You need only whisper a type of food from a gigantic menu into a mouthpiece and it appears, hot and steamy before you in less than a minute. Damn. I walk around the room eating goose liver and puffy bread until there's a knock on the door. Effie's calling me to dinner. Good. I'm starving. Peeta, Cinna, and Portia are standing out on a balcony that overlooks the Capitol when we enter the dining room. I'm glad to see the stylist, particularly after I hear that Hamish will be joining us. A meal presided over by just Effie and Hamish is bound to be a disaster. Besides, dinner isn't really about food, it's about planning out our strategies, and Cinna and Portia have already proven how valuable they are. A silent young man dressed in a white tunic offers us stemmed glasses of wine. I think about turning it down, but I've never had wine, except the homemade stuff my mother used for coughs and When will I get a chance to try it again? Steamed hams. I take a sip of the tart, dry liquid and secretly think it could be improved by a few spoonfuls of honey. Haymitch shows up just as dinner's being served. It looks as if he's had his own stylist because he's clean and groomed and about as sober as I've ever seen him. He doesn't refuse the offer of wine, but when he starts in on his soup, I realize it's the first time I've ever seen him eat. Maybe he really will pull himself together long enough to help us. Cinna and Portia seem to have a civilizing effect on Haymitch and Effie. At least they're addressing each other decently. And they both have nothing but praise for our stylist's opening act. While they make small talk, I concentrate on the meal. Mushroom soup, bitter greens with tomatoes and the size of peas, rare roast beef sliced as thin as paper, noodles in a green sauce, cheese that melts on your tongue, served with sweet blue grapes. The servers, all young people dressed in white tunics like the ones who gave us wine, move wordlessly to and from the table, keeping the platters and glasses full. About halfway through my glass of wine, my head starts feeling foggy, so I change to water instead. I don't like the feeling and hope it wears off soon. How Haymitch can stand walking around like this full time is a mystery. It's trauma. I try to focus on the talk, which has turned to our interview costumes. When a girl sets a gorgeous looking cake on the table and deftly lights it, it blazes up and then the flames flicker around the edges a while until it finally goes out. I have a moment of doubt. What makes it burn? Is it alcohol? I say, looking up at the girl. That's the last thing Oh, I know you! I can't place a name or time to the girl's face, but I'm certain of it. The dark red hair, the striking features, the porcelain white skin. But even as I utter the words, I feel my insides contracting with anxiety and guilt at the sight of her. And while I can't pull it up, I know some bad memory is associated with her. The expression of terror that crosses her face only adds to my confusion and unease. She shakes her head in denial quickly and hurries away from the table. When I look back, the four adults are watching me like hawks. Mike Hawk. Don't be ridiculous, Katniss. How could you possibly know an Avox? Snaps Effie. The very thought. What's an Avox? I ask stupidly. Someone who committed a crime. They cut her tongue so she can't speak, says Haymitch. She's probably a traitor of some sort. Not likely you'd know her. Ooh. And even if you did, you're not to speak to one of them unless it's to give an order, says Effie. Of course you don't really know her. But I do know her. And now that Haymitch has mentioned the word traitor, I remember from where. The disapproval is so high I could never admit it. No, I guess not. I stammer, and the wine is not helping. Peeta snaps his fingers. Deli Cartwright. That's who it is. I keep thinking she looked familiar as well. Then I realize she's a dead ringer for Deli. Deli Cartwright is a pasty-faced, lumpy girl with yellowish hair, Rude, who looks about as much like our server as a beetle does a butterfly. That's wild. She may also be the friendliest person on the planet. She smiles constantly at everyone in school, even me. I've never seen the girl with the red hair smile, but I jump on Peeta's suggestion gratefully. Of course, that's who I was thinking of. It must be the hair, I say. Something about the eyes, too, says Peeta. The energy at the table relaxes. Oh well, if that's all it is, says Cinna. And yes, the cake has spirits, but all the alcohol is burned off. I ordered it specially in honor of your fiery debut. We eat the cake and move into a sitting room to watch the replay of the opening ceremonies that's being broadcast. A few of the other couples make a nice impressions, but none of them can hold a candle to us. Damn. Even our own party lets out an ah as they show us coming out of the remake center. Whose idea was the hand-holding? Asked Hamish. Cinna's, says Portia. Just the perfect touch of rebellion, says Hamish. Very nice. Ooh, rebellion. I have to think about that one for a moment. But when I remember the other couples standing stiffly apart, never touching or acknowledging each other, as if their fellow tribute did not exist, as if the games had already begun, I know what Hamish means. Presenting ourselves not as adversaries but as friends has distinguished us much as the fiery costumes. Tomorrow morning is the first training session. Meet me for breakfast and I'll tell you exactly how I want you to play it, says Hamish to Peeta and me. Now go get some sleep while the grown-ups talk. Peeta and I walk together down the corridor to our rooms. When we get to my door, he leans against the frame, not blocking my entrance exactly, but insisting I pay attention to him. So, Deli Cartwright, imagine finding her look-alike here. He's asking for an explanation, and I'm tempted to give him one. We both know he covered for me, so here I am in his debt again. If I tell him the truth about the girls, somehow that might even things up. How can it hurt, really? Even if he repeated the story, it couldn't do me much harm. It was just something I witnessed, and he lied as much as I did about Deli Cartwright. I realize I do want to talk to someone about the girl, someone who might be able to help me figure out her story. Okay, they're thinking this might be Deli? Gale would be my first choice, but it's unlikely I'll ever see Gale again. I try to think if telling Peeta could give him any possible advantage over me, but I don't see how. Maybe sharing a confidence will actually make him believe I see him as a friend. Besides, the idea of the girl with her maimed tongue frightens me. She has reminded me why I'm here, not to model flashy costumes and eat delicacies, but to die a bloody death while the crowds urge on my killer. To tell or not to tell, my brain still feels slow from the wine. I stare down the empty corridor as if the decision lies there. Peeta picks up on my hesitation. Have you been on the roof yet? I shake my head. Cinna showed me. You can practically see the whole city. The wind's a bit loud, though. I translate this into no one will overhear us talk. In my head, you do have the sense that we might be under surveillance here. Can we just go up? Sure, come on, says Peeta. I follow him to a flight of stairs that lead to the roof. There's a small dome-shaped room with a door to the outside. As we step into the cool, windy evening air, I catch my breath at the view. The capital twinkles like a vast field of fireflies. Electricity in District 12 comes and goes. Usually we only have it a few hours a day. Often the evenings are spent in candlelight. The only time you can count on it is when they're airing the games or some important government message on television that's mandatory to watch. But here there would be no shortage. Ever. Peeta and I walk to a railing at the edge of the roof. I look straight down the side of the building to the street, which is buzzing with people. You can hear their cars, an occasional shout, and a strange metallic tinkling. In District 12, we'd all be thinking about bed right now. I asked Cinna why they let us up here. Weren't they worried that some of the tributes might decide to jump right over the side? Says Peeta. What do you say? I ask. You can't, says Peeta. He holds out his hand into seemingly empty space. There's a sharp zap, and he jerks it back. Some kind of electric field throws you back to the roof. Always worried about our safety, I say. Even though Cinna has shown Peeta the roof, I wonder if we're supposed to be up here now, so late and alone. I've never seen tributes on the training center roof before, but that doesn't mean we're not being taped. Do you think they're watching us now? Maybe, he admits. Come see the garden. On the other side of the dome, they've built a garden with flower beds and potted trees. From the branches hang hundreds of wild chimes, which account for the tinkling I hear. Here in the garden on this windy night, it's enough to drown out two people who are trying not to be heard. Peeta looks at me expectantly. I pretend to examine a blossom. We're hunting in the woods one day. Hidden, waiting for game, I whisper. You and your father? He whispers back. No, my friend Gale. Friend. She said friend. Suddenly all the birds stopped singing at once. Oh, except one, as if it were giving a warning call. And then we saw her. I'm sure it was the same girl. A boy was with her. Their clothes were tattered. They had dark circles under their eyes from no sleep. They're running as if their lives depended on it, I say. Oh, for a moment I'm silent, as I remember how the sight of the strange pair, clearly not from District 12, fleeing through the woods immobilized us. Later, we wondered if we could have helped them escape. Perhaps we might have concealed them. If we'd moved quickly, Gale and I were taken by surprise. Yes, but we're both hunters. We know how animals look at bay. We knew the pair was in trouble as soon as we saw them, but we only watched. The hovercraft appeared out of nowhere, I continued to Peta. I mean, one moment the sky was empty, and the next it was there. It didn't make a sound, but they saw it. A net dropped down on the girl and carried her up fast, so fast like it was the elevator. They shot some sort of spear through the boy. It was attached to a cable, and they hauled him up as well. But I'm certain he was dead. We heard the girl scream once, the boy's name, I think. Then it was gone. The hovercraft vanished into thin air, and the birds began to sing again, as if nothing had happened. Did they see you? Peta asked. I don't know. We were under a shelf of rock, I reply. But I do know. There was a moment after the bird call, but before the hovercraft, where the girl had seen us. She locked eyes with me and called out for help. But neither Gale or I had responded. You're shivering, says Peta. The wind and the story have blown all the warmth from my body. The girls scream. Had it been her last? Peta takes off his jacket and wraps it around my shoulders. I started to take a step back, but then I let him, deciding for a moment to accept both his jacket and his kindness. A friend would do that, right? They were from here? He asks, and he secures a button at my neck. I nod. They'd had that capital look about them, the boy and the girl. Where do you suppose they were going? He asked. I don't know that, I say. District 12 is pretty much the end of the line. Beyond us, there's only wilderness. If you don't count the ruins of District 13 that still smolder from the toxic bombs. They showed it on television occasionally, just to remind us. Or why they would leave here. Hamish had called the Avox traitors. Against what? It could only be the capital. But they had everything here. No cause to rebel. I'd leave here, Peta blurts out. Then he looks around nervously. It was loud enough to hear above the chimes. He laughs. I'd go home now if they let me. But you have to admit, the food's prime. He's covered again. If that's all you'd heard, it would just sound like the words of a scared tribute, not someone contemplating the unquestionable goodness of the capital. It's getting chilly. We better go in, he says. Inside the dome, it's warm and bright. His tone is controversial. Your friend Gale. He's the one who took your sister away at the reaping? Yes, do you know him? I ask. Not really. I hear the girls talk about him a lot. I thought he was your cousin or something. You favor each other, he says. No, we're not related, I say. Peta nods. Unreadable. Did he come to say goodbye to you? Yes, I say, observing him carefully. So, did your father... He brought me cookies. Peta raised his eyebrows as if this was news, but after watching him lie so smoothly, I don't give this much weight. Really? Well, he likes you and your sister. I think he wishes he had a daughter instead of a house full of boys. The idea that I might ever have been discussed around the dinner table at the bakery fire, just in passing in Peta's house, gives me a start. It must have been where the mother was out of the room. "You knew your mother when they were kids," says Peeta. Another surprise, but probably true. "Oh, yes, she grew up in town," I say. It seems impolite to say she never mentioned the baker except to compliment his bread. We're at my door. I give back his jacket. "See you in the morning, then." "See you," he says, and walks off down to the hall. When I open my door, the red-headed girl is collecting my unitard and books from where I left them on the floor before my shower. I want to apologize for possibly getting her in trouble earlier, but I remember I'm not supposed to speak to her unless I'm giving her an order. "Oh, sorry," I say. "I was supposed to get those back to Cinna. I'm sorry. Can you take them? Can you take them to him?" She avoids my eyes, gives me a small nod, and heads out the door. I'd set out to tell her I was sorry about dinner, but I know that my apology runs much deeper. That I'm ashamed I never tried to help her in the woods. That I let the capital kill the boy and mutilate her without lifting a finger. She was the one? Oh. Just like I was watching the games. I kick off my shoes and climb under the covers of my clothes. The shivering hasn't stopped. Perhaps the girl doesn't even remember me, but I know she does. You don't forget the face of the person who was your last hope. I pull the covers up over my head as if this was to protect me from the red-headed girl who can't speak, but I can feel her eyes staring at me, piercing through walls and doors and bedding. I wonder if she'll enjoy watching me die. Dude! Okay. Okay, that's... Like... They hit you with lines like that. That's fucking me up. I wonder if she'll enjoy watching me die. Okay. Katniss. I'm so sorry. Ooh, we're going from chapter 6 to chapter 7. I had to announce it. It had to be said. Okay. So chapter 7. My slumbers are filled with disturbing dreams. Oh, dude, this is a great story time. This is a great, relaxing bedtime story, dude. The face of the red-headed girl intertwines with gory images from earlier Hunger Games, with my mother withdrawn and unreachable, with Prim emaciated and terrified. I bolt up screaming for my father to run as the mines explode into a million deadly bits of light. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking like, alright, we're gonna read a bedtime story. Dawn is breaking through the windows. The capital has a misty, haunted air. My head aches and I must have bitten into the side of my cheek in the night. My tongue probes the ragged flesh and I taste blood. Okay, sweetie, we're reading your favorite book. Slowly, I drag myself out of bed and into the shower. I arbitrarily punch buttons on the control board and end up hoping from foot to foot as alternating jets of icy cold and steaming hot water assault me. Then I'm deluged into lemony foam that I have to scrape off with a heavy bristle brush. Oh well, at least my blood is flowing. Sweetie, I have your favorite bedtime story. When I'm dried and moisturized with lotion, I find an outfit that has been left for me at the front of the closet. Tight black pants, a long sleeve burgundy tunic, and leather shoes. I put my hair in the single braid down my back. This is the first time since the morning of the reaping that I resemble myself. No fancy hair and clothes, no flaming capes, just me. Looking like I could be headed for the woods. It calms me. Hamish didn't give us an exact time to meet for breakfast, and not one has contacted me this morning. But I'm hungry, so I head down to the dining room, hoping there'll be food. I'm not disappointed. While the table is empty, a long board off to the side has been laid with at least 20 dishes. A young man, an Avox, stands at attention by the spread. When I ask if I can serve myself, he nods assent. I load a plate with egg, sausage, batter cakes, covered in thick orange preserves, slices of pale purple melon. As I gorge myself, I watch the sun rise over the capital. I have a second plate of hot grains smothered in beef stew. Finally, I fill a plate with rolls and sit at the table, breaking off bits and dipping them into hot chocolate. This should. I kind of want to dip bread in hot chocolate now. This is like the third time. The way PETA did on the train, right? My mind wanders to my mother and Prim. They must be up. My mother getting their breakfast of mush. Prim milking her goat before school. Just 2 mornings ago I was home. Can that be right? Yes, just 2. And now how empty the house feels even from a distance. What did they say last night about my fiery debut at the games? Did it give them hope or simply add to their terror when they saw the reality of 24 tributes circled together knowing only one could live? Haymitch and PETA come in, bid me good morning, fill their plates. It makes me irritated that PETA is wearing exactly the same outfit I am. I need to say something to Cinna. Damn, she's jealous. This twins act is going to blow up in our faces once the games begin. Surely they must know this. Then I remember Haymitch telling me to do exactly what the stylist tells me to do. If it was anyone but Cinna, I might be tempted to ignore him. But after last night's triumph, I don't have a lot of room to criticize his choices. I'm nervous about the training. There will be 3 days in which all the tributes practice together. On the last afternoon, we'll each get a chance to perform in private before the game makers. The thought of meeting the other tributes face to face makes me queasy. I turn the roll I have just taken from the basket over and over in my hands, but my appetite is gone. When Haymitch has finished several plates of stew, he pushes back his plate with a sigh. He takes a flask from his pocket and takes a long pull on it and leans his elbows on the table. So, let's get down to business. Training. First off, if you like, I'll coach you separately. Decide now. Why would you coach us separately, I ask. Say if you had a secret skill you might not want the other to know about, says Haymitch. I exchange a look with PETA. I don't have any secret skills, he says, and I already know what yours is, right? I mean, I've eaten enough of your squirrels. I never thought about PETA eating the squirrels I shot. Somehow I always picture the baker quietly going off and frying them up for himself. Not out of greed, but because town families usually eat expensive butcher meat, beef and chicken and horse. You can coach us together, I tell Haymitch. PETA nods. Alright, so give me some idea of what you can do, says Haymitch. I can do anything, says PETA. I can't do anything. Oh, I can't do anything unless you count baking bread. Sorry, I don't. Katniss, I already know you're handy with a knife, says Haymitch. Not really, but I can hunt, I say, with a bow and arrow. And you're good? asks Haymitch. I have to think about it. I've been putting food on the table for 4 years. That's no small task. I'm not as good as my father was, but he had more practice. I've better aim than Gale, but I've had more practice. He's a genius with traps and snares. Oh, Gale is a genius with traps and snares. I'm alright, I say. She's excellent, says PETA. My father buys her squirrels. He always comments on how the arrows never pierce the body. She hits everyone in the eye. It's the same with the rabbits she sells the butcher. She can even bring down deer. This assessment of my skills from PETA takes me totally by surprise. First, that he ever noticed. Second, that he's talking me up. What are you doing? I ask him suspiciously. Yeah, what is he doing? What are you doing? If he's going to help you, he has to know what you're capable of. Don't underrate yourself. Oh, says PETA. I don't know why, but this rubs me the wrong way. What about you? I've seen you in the market. You can lift 100-pound bags of flour. I snap at him. Tell him that. That's not nothing. Yes, and I'm sure the arena will be full of bags of flour for me to chuck at people. It's not like being able to use a weapon. You know it isn't, he shoots back. He can wrestle, I tell Hamish. He came in second in our school competition last year, only after his brother. What use is that? How many times have you seen someone wrestle someone into death, says Peeta in disgust. There's always hand-to-hand combat. All you need is to come up with a knife and you'll at least stand a chance. If I get jumped, I'm dead. I can hear my voice rising in anger. Ooh. But you won't. You'll be living up in some tree eating raw squirrels and picking off people with arrows. You know what my mother said to me when she came to say goodbye, as if to cheer me up. She says, maybe District 12 will finally have a winner. Then I realized she didn't mean me. She meant you, bursts out Peeta. Oh. Oh, she meant you, I say with a wave of dismissal. She said, she's the survivor, that one. She is, says Peeta. That pulls me up short. Did his mother really say that about me? Did she rate me over her son? I see the pain in Peeta's eyes and know he isn't lying. Suddenly, I'm behind the bakery and I can feel the chill of the rain running down my back, the hollowness in my belly. I sound 11 years old when I speak, but only because someone helped me. Oh. Peeta's eyes flickered down to the roll in my hands, and I know he remembers that day too. But he just shrugs. People will help you in the arena. They'll be tripping over each other to sponsor you. No more than you, I say. Peeta rolls his eyes at Hamish. She has no idea. The effect she can have. He runs his fingernail along the wood grain in the table, refusing to look at me. What on earth does he mean? People help me? When we were dying of starvation, no one helped me. No one except Peeta. Once I had something to barter with, things changed. I'm a tough trader, or am I? What effect do I have? That I'm weak and needy? Is he suggesting that I got good deals because people pitied me? I try to think if this is true. Perhaps some of the merchants were a little generous in their trades, but I always attributed that to their long-standing relationship with my father. Besides, my game is first class. No one pitied me. I glow at the roll. Sure, he meant to insult me. After about a minute of this, Hamish says, well then, well. Katniss, there's no guarantee there'll be bows and arrows in the arena, but during your private session with the game makers, show them what you can do. Until then, stay clear of archery. Are you any good at trapping? I know a few basic snares, I muttered. That may be significant in terms of food, says Hamish. And Peeta, she's right. Never underestimate strengths in the arena. Very often, physical power tilts another tribute. There are assistants on hand if we want to practice with a partner. When Atala begins to read down the list of the skill stations, my eyes can't help flitting around to the other tributes. It's the first time we've been assembled on level ground in simple clothes. My heart sinks. Almost all of the boys and at least half of the girls are bigger than I am, even though many of the tributes have never been fed properly. You can see it in their bones, their skin, the hollow lick in their eyes. I may be smaller naturally, but overall my family's resourcefulness has given me an edge in the arena. I stand straight, and while I'm thin, I'm strong. The meat and plants from the woods combined with the exertion it took to get them have given me a healthier body than most of those I see around me. Damn, okay, Glaze. The exceptions are the kids from the wealthier districts, the volunteers, the ones who have been fed and trained throughout their lives for this moment. The tributes from 1, 2, and 4 traditionally have this look about them. It's technically against the rules to train tributes before they reach the capital, but it happens every year. In District 12, we call them the career tributes, or just the careers. And like as not, the winner will be one of them. The slight advantage I held coming into the training center, my fiery entrance last night, seems to vanish in the presence of my competition. The other tributes were jealous of us, but not because we were amazing, because our stylists were. Now I see nothing but contempt in the glances of the career tributes. Each must have 50 to 100 pounds on me. They project arrogance and brutality. When Atala releases us, they head straight for the deadliest looking weapons in the gym and handle them with ease. Jeez. I'm thinking that it's lucky I'm a fast runner when PETA nudges my arm and I jump. He is still beside me, per Hamish's instructions. His expression is sober. Where would you like to start? I look around at the career tributes who are showing off, clearly trying to intimidate the field, then at the others, the underfed, the incompetent, shakily having their first lessons with a knife or an axe. Suppose we tie some knots, I say. Right you are, says PETA. We cross to an empty station where the trainer seems pleased to have students. You get the feeling that the knot tying class is not the Hunger Games hotspot. When he realizes I know something about snares, he shows us a simple, excellent trap that will leave a human competitor dangling by a leg from a tree. We concentrate on this one skill for an hour until both of us have mastered it. Then we move on to camouflage. PETA genuinely seems to enjoy this station, swirling of combination of mud and clay and berry juices around his pale skin, weaving disguises from vines and leaves. The trainer who runs the camouflage station is full of enthusiasm at his work. I do the cakes, he admits to me. The cakes? I've been preoccupied with watching the boy from District 2 send a spear through a dummy's heart from 15 yards. What cakes? I do the cakes. At home, the iced ones from the bakery, he says. He means the ones they display in the windows. Fancy cakes with flowers and pretty things painted in frosting. They're for birthdays and New Year's Day. When we're in Square, Prim always drags me over to admire them. Although he'd never be able to afford one, there's little enough beauty in District 12, though, so I can hardly deny her this. I look more critically at the design on PETA's arm. The alternating pattern of light and dark suggests sunlight falling through the leaves in the woods. I wonder how he knows this, since I doubt he's ever been beyond the fence. Has he been able to pick this up from just that scraggly old apple tree in his backyard? Somehow the whole thing, his skill, those inaccessible cakes, praise the camouflage expert, annoys me. Uh-oh. It's lovely. If only you could frost someone to death, I say. Don't be so superior. You can never tell what you'll find in the arena. Say it's actually a gigantic cake, begins PETA. Say we move on, I break in. So the next 3 days pass with PETA and me going quietly from station to station. We do pick up on some valuable skills, from starting fires to knife throwing to making shelter. Despite Hamish's order to appear mediocre, PETA excels in hand-to-hand combat, and I sweep the edible plant tests without blinking an eye. We steer clear of archery and weightlifting, though, wanting to save those for our private sessions. The game makers appeared early on the first day, 20 or so men and women dressed in deep purple robes. They sit in the elevated stands that surround the gymnasium, sometimes wandering about to watch us, jotting down notes, other times eating at the endless banquet that has been set for them, ignoring the lot of us. But they do seem to be keeping their eye on the District 12 tributes. Several times I've looked up to find one fixated on me. They consult with the trainers during our meals as well. We see them all gather together when we come back. Breakfast and dinner are served on our floor, but at lunch the 24 of us eat in a dining room off the gymnasium. Food is arranged on carts around the room and you serve yourself. The career tributes tend to gather rotely around one table as if to prove their superiority, that they have no fear of one another and consider the rest of us beneath notice. Most of the other tributes sit alone like lost sheep. No one says a word to us. PETA and I eat together. And since Hamish keeps dogging us about it, try to keep up a friendly conversation during the meals. It's not easy to find a topic. Talking him home is painful, talking of the present unbearable. One day, Peeta empties out bread basket and points out how they have been careful to include types from the districts along with refined bread of the capital. The fish-shaped loaf tinted green with seaweed from District 4. The crescent moon roll dotted seeds from District 11. Somehow, although it's made from the same stuff, it looks a lot more appetizing than the ugly drop biscuits that are the standard fare at home. And there you have it, says Peeta, scooping the bread back in the basket. You certainly know a lot, I say. Only about bread, he says. Okay, now laugh as if I've said something funny. We both give a somewhat convincing laugh and ignore the stares from around the room. Alright, I'll keep smiling pleasantly and you talk, says Peeta. It's wearing us both out. Hamish's direction to be friendly. Because ever since I slammed my door, there's been a chill in the air between us. But we have our orders. Did I ever tell you about the time I was chased by a bear? I asked. No, but it sounds fascinating, says Peeta. I try and animate my face as I recall the event, a true story, in which I'd foolishly challenged a black bear over the rights to a beehive. Peeta laughs and asks questions right on cue. He's much better at this than I am. On the second day, while we're taking a shot at spear throwing, he whispers to me, I think we have a shadow. I throw my spear, which I'm not too bad at actually, if I don't have to throw too far, and see the little girl from District 11 standing back a bit, watching us. She's the 12-year-old, the one who reminded me so of Prim in stature. Up close, she looks about 10. She has bright, dark eyes and satiny brown skin and stands tilled up on her toes, with her arms slightly extended to her sides, as if ready to take wing at the slightest sound. It's impossible not to think of a bird. I pick up another spear while Peeta throws. I think her name is Rue, he says softly. I bite my lip. Rue is a small yellow flower that grows in the meadow. Rue, primrose. Neither of them could tip the scale at 70 pounds soaking wet. What can we do about it? I ask him more harshly than I intended. Nothing to do, he says back, just making conversation. Now that I know she's there, it's hard to ignore the child. She slips up and joins us at different stations. Like me, she's clever with plants, climbs swiftly, and has good aim. She can hit the target every time with a slingshot. But what is a slingshot against a 220-pound male with a sword? Back on District 12 floor, Hamish and Effie grill us all throughout breakfast and dinner about every moment of the day. What we did, who watched us, how the other tributes size up. Sin and Portia aren't around, so there's no one to add any sanity to the meals. Not that Hamish and Effie are fighting anymore. Instead, they seem to be of one mind, determined to whip us into shape, full of endless directions about what we should do and not do in training. Peeta is more patient, but I become fed up and surely. When we finally escape to bed on the second night, Peeta mumbles, "Someone ought to get Hamish a drink." I make a sound that is somewhat between a snort and a laugh. Then catch myself. It's messing with my mind too much, trying to keep straight when we're supposedly friends and when we're not. At least when we get into the arena, I'll know where we stand. Don't. Let's pretend when there's no one around. Alright, Katniss, he says tiredly. After that, we only talk in front of people. Damn. I need to get some water. Hold on. On the third day of training, They start to call us out of lunch for our private sessions with the game makers. District by district, first the boy, then the girl tribute. As usual, District 12 is slated to go last. We linger into the dining room, unsure where else to go. No one comes back once they have left. As the room empties, the pressure to appear friendly lightens. By the time they call Rue, we are left alone. We sit in silence until they summon Pita. He rises. Remember what Hamish said about being sure to throw the weights. The words come out of my mouth without permission. Thanks, I will, he says. You... shoot straight. I nod. I don't know why I said anything at all. Although if I'm going to lose, I'd rather Pita win than the others. Better for our district, for my mother and Prim. About 15 minutes, they call my name. I smooth my hair, set my shoulders back, and walk into the gymnasium. Instantly, I know I'm in trouble. They've been here too long, the game makers. Sat through 23 other demonstrations, had too much wine, most of them. Want more than anything to just go home. There's nothing I can do but continue with the plan. I walk to the archery station. Oh, the weapons. I've been itching to get my hands on them for days. Bows made of wood and plastic and metal and materials I can't even name. Arrows with feathers cut in flawless uniform lines. I choose a bow, string it, and sling the matching quiver of arrows over my shoulder. There's a shooting range, but it's much too limited. Standard bullseyes and human silhouettes. I walk to the center of the gymnasium, and pick my first target, the dummy used for knife practice. Even as I pull back on the bow, I know something is wrong. The string's tighter than the one I used at home. The arrow's more rigid. I miss the dummy by a couple of inches and lose what little attention I had been commanding. For a moment, I'm humiliated, and then I head back to the bullseye. I shoot again and again until I get the feel of these new weapons. Back in the center of the gymnasium, I take my initial position and skewer the dummy right through the heart. Then I sever the rope that holds the sandbag for boxing, and the bag splits open as it slams to the ground. Without pausing, I shoulder roll forward, come up on one knee, and send an arrow into one of the hanging lights high above the gymnasium floor. A shower of sparks burst from the fixtures. It's excellent shooting. I turn to the game makers. A few are nodding approval, but the majority of them are fixated on a roasted pig that has just arrived at their banquet table. Suddenly, I am furious. Me too, girl. That with my life on the line, they don't even have the decency to pay attention to me. That I'm being upstaged by a dead pig. Oh. My heart starts to pound. I can feel my face burning. Without thinking, I pull an arrow from my quiver and send it straight at the game maker's table. Damn! I hear shouts of alarm as people stumble back. The arrow skewers the apple in the pig's mouth and pins it to the wall behind it. Oh. Everyone stares at me in disbelief. Thank you for your consideration, I say. Then I give a slight bow, and walk straight toward the exit without being dismissed. Damn. Okay. Shit. I think we need to... You know what? Let's... Just for the sake of it, let's bring up bro. Hey, man. Thank you. Okay. You can go back. Boop. Okay. So we're gonna watch the training center segment. Alright.
I know you took my knife.
I don't have your knife.
Give it back.
Here's your knife.
I'm coming back, and you best not fart on me.
Bro would merely melt in my mouth.
Throw something.
But Hamish said
Oh,
that-
to heck with what Hamish said. Okay? They're looking at you like you're a snack.
Did you start that? Yeah, that was me.
What are you doing?
I used to decorate the cakes at the bakery.
Oh.
Look. Blends right in.
Katniss Everdeen.
Dog shit. Poor person.
Thank you for your consideration. You insubordinate little girl!
Okay. There we go. Alright. We'll come back to this scene, but I need to bring out my bro. Alright. He's back. He's gonna cart it away. Thank you, man. Oh wait, he forgot to turn off the TV. Okay, hold on. Boop. Okay, yeah. Alright, you can go now. Alright, sick. Chapter 8. As I stride towards the elevator, I fling my bow to side and my quiver to the other. I brush past the gaping Avoxes who guard the elevators and hit the number 12 button with my fist. The doors slide together and I zip upward. I actually make it back to my floor before the tears start running down my cheeks. I can hear the others calling me from the sitting room, but I fly down the hall into my room, bolt the door, and fling myself onto the bed. Then I really begin to sob. Me too, girl. Now I've done it. Now I've ruined everything. If I had stood even a ghost of chance, it vanished when I sent that arrow flying at the game makers. What will they do to me now? Arrest me? Execute me? Probably execute you. Cut my tongue and turn me into an Avox? Probably that too. So I can wait on the future tributes in Panem? What was I thinking, shooting at the game makers? Of course I wasn't. I was shooting at the apple because I was so angry at being ignored. Me too, girl. I wasn't trying to kill one of them. If I were, they'd be dead. Oh, tough. That's tough. Oh, what does it matter? It's not like I was going to win the games anyway. Who cares what they do to me? What really scares me is what they might do to my mother and Prim. How my family might suffer now because of my impulsiveness. Will they take their few belongings or send my mother to prison and Prim to community home? Or kill them? Maybe kill them. I think that they would kill them. They wouldn't kill them, would they? They would. Why not? Because what do they care? I don't know. I should have stayed and apologized, or laughed like it was a big joke. Then maybe I would have found some leniency, but instead I stalked out of the place in my most disrespectful manner possible. Hamish and Effie are knocking on my door. I shout for them to go away, and eventually they do. It takes at least an hour for me to cry myself out. Then I just lie curled up in a bed, stroking the silken sheets, watching the sunset over the artificial candy capital. Damn! At first I expect guards to come for me, but as time passes it seems less likely. I calm down. They still need a girl tribute for District 12, don't they? If the game makers want to punish me, they can do it publicly. Wait until I'm in the arena and 6 starving wild animals on me. You can bet they'll make sure I don't have a bow and arrow to defend myself. Before that, though, they'll give me a score so low no one in their right mind would sponsor me. That's what will happen tonight. Since the training isn't open to viewers, the game makers announce a score for each player. It gives the audience a starting place for the betting that will continue throughout the games. The number, which is between 1 and 12, 1 being irredeemably bad and 12 being unattainably high, signifies the promise of the tribute. The mark is not a guarantee of which person will win, it's only an indication of the potential a tribute showed in training. Betting. Turn that TV off. Good. Often, because the variables in the actual arena, high-scoring tributes go down almost immediately. And a few years ago, the boy who won the games only received a 3. Okay. The scores can help or hurt an individual tribute in terms of sponsorship. Okay. I had been hoping my shooting skills might give me a 6 or a 7. Oh my fucking god. I also saw, what do you call it? Home Alone. Earlier today, over at my brother's place. And, John Candy, the absolute GOAT. I love John Candy. He goes 6'7". You can never escape it, dude. Even if I'm not particularly powerful. Now I'm sure I'll have the lowest score of the 24. If no one sponsors me, my odds staying alive decreases almost 0. When Effie taps on the door to call me to dinner, I decide I may as well go. The scores will be televised tonight. It's not like I can hide what happened forever. I go to the bathroom and wash my face, but it's still red and splotchy. Everyone's waiting at the table, even Cinna and Portia. I wish the stylist hadn't shown up because for some reason I don't like the idea of disappointing them. Oh, she cares about him. Okay. It's as if I've thrown away all the good work they did on the opening ceremonies without a thought. I avoid looking at anyone as I take tiny spoonfuls of fish soup. The saltines remind me of my tears. Oh, because the saltiness. The adults begin some chit-chat about the weather forecast, and I let my eyes meet Peta's. He raises his eyebrows. A question. What happened? I just give my head a small shake. Then, as they're serving the main course, I hear Hamish say, "Okay, enough small talk." Just how bad were you today? Peta jumps in. I don't know that it mattered. By the time I showed up, no one even bothered to look at me. They were singing some kind of drinking song, I think. So I threw around some heavy objects until they told me I could go. It makes me feel a bit better. It's not like Peta attacked the game makers, but at least he was provoked too. And you, sweetheart, says Hamish. Somehow Hamish calling me a sweetheart ticks me off enough that I'm at least able to speak. I shot an arrow at the game makers. I fucking shot a game maker, by the way. Everyone stops eating. You what? The horror in Effie's voice confirms my worst suspicions. I shot an arrow at them. Not exactly at them. You literally said at them. In their direction. Oh, right, Katniss, right. It's like Peta said. I was shooting and they were ignoring me. And I just lost my head. And so I shot an apple out of their stupid roast pig's mouth, I said defiantly. And what did they say, says Cinna carefully. Nothing. Or, I don't know, I walked out after that, I say. Without being dismissed, gasp Effie. Oh, shit. I dismissed myself. Fuck yeah, you did. I remember how I promised Prim that I really would try to win, and I feel like a ton of coal was dropped on me. Shout out District 12 for that coal mention. Well, that's that, says Hamish. Then he butters a roll. Do you think they'll arrest me, I say? Doubt it. Be a pain to replace you at this stage, says Hamish. What about my family? What about my family, I say? Will they punish them? Don't think so. Wouldn't make much sense. See, they'd have to reveal what happened in the training center for it to have any worthwhile effect on the population. People would need to know what you did, but they can't since it's secret. So it'd be a waste of effort, says Hamish. More likely, they'll make your life hell in the arena. Well, And they've already promised to do that to us anyway, says Peeta. Very true, says Haymitch. And I realize the impossible has happened. They have actually cheered me up. Haymitch picks up a pork chop with his fingers, which makes Effie frown. Womp. And dunks it in his wine. He rips off a hunk of meat and starts to chuckle. What were their faces like? I can feel the edges of my mouth tilting up. Shocked. Terrified. Ridiculous, some of them. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. An image pops into my mind. One man tripped backwards into a bullet punch. Haymitch guffaws, and we all start laughing except Effie, although even she is suppressing a smile. Well, it serves them right. It's their job to pay attention to you, and just because you come from District 12 is no excuse to ignore you. Then her eyes dart around as if she said something totally outrageous. Oh? I'm sorry, but that's what I think, she says to no one in particular. Oh, a little, you know. Scores only matter if they're very good. No one pays much attention to the bad or mediocre ones. For all they know, you could be hiding your talents to get a low score on purpose. People use that strategy, says Portia. I hope that's how people interpret the 4 I'll probably get, says Peeta. If that. Really is anything less impressive than watching a person pick up a heavy ball and throw it a couple of yards. One almost landed on my foot. I think that's impressive. Out of 12... Okay, tangent. Out of 12, if I'm a game maker and I see some dude pick up, like, the heaviest, lift round thing at a gym or whatever, and he hurls that shit well over, like, about 10 feet, maybe 15 feet, I'd be impressed. I'd give him, out of 12? Probably shoot maybe, like, a 6. Nothing above. Not even 1. But a 6. Not even a +1 on that 6, alright? Not even heavy, not even like a 6.5, not even like a teetering between 6 and the 1 after 6. Let's see. I grin at him and realize that I'm starving. I cut off a piece of pork. Haram. Haram, dude. No, Katniss. You're doing haram. Dunk it in mashed potatoes and start eating. It's okay, my family is safe, and if they are safe, no real harm has been done. Tee. After dinner, we go to the sitting room and watch the scores announced on television. First, they show a photo of the tribute, then flash their score below it. The career tributes naturally get in the 8 to 10 range, jeez. Most of the other players average 5. Surprisingly, Little Rue comes up with a 7. Whoa. I don't know what she showed the judges, but she's so tiny it must have been impressive. District 12 comes up last, as usual. Peeta pulls an 8, so at least a couple of the game makers must have been watching him. I dig my fingernails into my palms as they fade. There's no religions, that's true. Then they District 12 comes up last, as usual. Peeta pulls an 8. That's shocking. I dig my fingernails into my palms as my face comes up, expecting the worst. Then they're flashing the number 11 on the score. 11, dude. Effie Trinket lets out a squeal, and everybody is clapping, clapping me on the back, and cheering and congratulating me. But it doesn't seem real. There must be a mistake. How could that happen? I asked Haymitch. Guess they liked your temper, he says. They've got a show to put on. They need some players with some heat. Katniss, the girl who was on fire, says Cinna and gives me a hug. Oh, wait until you see your interview dress. More flames, I ask? Of course, he says mischievously. Of course. Peeta and I congratulate each other, another awkward moment. We've both done well, but what does that mean for the others? I escape to my room as quickly as possible and burrow down under the covers. The stress of the day, particularly the crying, has worn me out. I drift off, reprieved, relieved, and with the number 11 still flashing behind my eyelids. At dawn, I lie in bed for a while, watching the sun come up on a beautiful morning. It's Sunday, a day off at home. I wonder if Gale is in the woods yet. Usually we devote all Sunday to stocking up for the week, rising early, hunting and gathering, then trading at the hob. I think of Gale without me. Both of us can hunt alone, but we're better as a pair, particularly if we're trying for bigger game. But also if the littler things, having a partner, lighten the load. Could even make the arduous task of filling my family's table enjoyable. I had been struggling along on my own for about 6 months when I first ran into Gale in the woods. It was a Sunday in October, the air cool and pungent with dying things. Wild. Oh, God. I'd spent the morning competing with the squirrels for nuts and the slightly warmer afternoons wading in shallow ponds harvesting catnip. Me, the only meat I'd shot was a squirrel that had partially run over my toes in its quest for acorns. But the animals would still be afoot when the snow buried my other food sources. Having strayed farther afield than usual, I was hurrying back home, lugging my burlap sacks, when I came across a dead rabbit. It was hanging by its neck in a thin wire a foot above my head. About 15 yards away was another. I recognized the twitch-up snares because my father had used them. When the prey is caught, it's yanked into the air out of the reach of other hungry animals. I've been trying to use snares all summer with no success, so I couldn't help dropping my sacks to examine this one. My fingers were just on the wire above one of the rambits when a voice rang out. That's dangerous. I jumped back several feet as Gale materialized from behind a tree. He must have been watching me the whole time. He was only 14, but he cleared 6 feet and was as good as an adult to me. That's wild. That's wild. I'd seen him around the seam and at school, and one other time. He'd lost his father in the same blast that killed mine. In January, I had stood by while he received his Medal of Valor in the Justice Building. Another oldest child with no father. I remember his 2 little brothers clutching his mother, a woman whose swollen belly announced she was just days away from giving birth. Damn. What's your name? He said, coming over and disengaging the rabbit from the snare. He had another 3 hanging from his belt. Katniss, I said, barely audible. Well, Catnip, stealing's punishable by death, or hadn't you heard, he said. He brings out his 9-iron. Katniss, I said louder. And I wasn't stealing it, I just wanted to look at your snare. Mine never catch anything. He scowled at me, not convinced. So where'd you get the squirrel? I shot it. I pulled my bow off my shoulders. I was still using the small version my father had made me, but I'd been practicing with the full-size one when I could. I was hoping that by spring I might be able to bring down some bigger game. Gale's eyes fastened on the bow. Can I see that? I handed it over. Just remember, stealing's punishable by death. Still kills her. That was the first time I ever saw him smile. It transformed him from someone menacing to someone you wished you knew. But it took several months before I returned that smile. We talked hunting then. I told him I might be able to get him a bow if he had something to trade. Not food. I wanted knowledge. I seeked knowledge. I wanted to set my own snares that caught a belt of fat rabbits, and one day he agreed something might be worked out. As the seasons went, we grudgingly began to share our knowledge, our weapons, our secret places that were thick with wild plums or turkeys. He taught me snares and fishing. I showed him what plants to eat and eventually gave him one of our precious bows. And then one day, without either of us saying it, we became a team, dividing the work and the spoils, making sure that both of our families had food. Gale gave me a sense of security I lacked since my father's death. His companionship replaced the long solitary hours in the woods. I became a much better hunter when I didn't have to look over my shoulder constantly, when someone was watching my back. But he turned into so much more than a hunting partner. He became my confidant, someone with whom I could share thoughts I could never voice inside the fence. In exchange, he trusted me with his. Being out in the woods with Gale, sometimes it was actually happy. I call him my friend, but in the last year it seemed too casual a word for what Gale is to me. A pang of longing shoots through my heart, my chest. Chest, not heart. If only he was with me now. But, of course, I don't want that. I don't want him in the arena where he'd be dead in a few days. I just miss him, and I hate being so alone. Does he miss me? He must. I think of the 11 flashing under my name last night. I know exactly what he'd say to me. Well, there's some room for improvement there. And he'd give me a smile, and I'd return it without hesitating now. I can't help comparing what I have with Gale to what I'm pretending to have with PETA. How I never question Gale's motives while I do nothing but doubt the latter's. It's not a fair comparison, really. Gale and I were thrown together by a mutual need to survive. PETA and I know the other survival means to our own deaths. How do I sidestep that? Effie's knocking at the door, reminding me there's another big day ahead. Tomorrow night will be our televised interviews. I guess the whole team will have their hands full ready for us for that. I get up and take a quick shower, being a bit more careful about the buttons I hit. I head down to the dining room. PETA, Effie, and Hamish are huddled around the table talking in hushed voices. That seems odd, but hunger wins out over curiosity, and I load up my plate. Like a true Brexit geezer, load up the plate. Breakfast before I join them. The stew's made with tender chunks of lamb and dried plums today, perfect on the bed of wild rice. I've shoveled it about halfway through the mound when I realize no one's talking. I take a big gulp of orange juice and wipe my mouth. So what's going on? You're coaching us on interviews today, right? That's right, says Hamish. You don't have to wait until I'm done. I can listen and eat at the same time, I say. Well, there's been a change of plans about our current approach, says Hamish. What's that? I ask. Not sure what our current approach is. Trying to appear mediocre in front of the other tributes is the last bit of strategy I remember. Hamish shrugs. PETA has asked to be coached separately. Oh. Okay. End of chapter 8. What does that mean? Well, to continue this story, we need to bring out our little friend here. What's his name? I don't know. I forgot his name. What are we thinking? You gotta give he has a name, right, guys? Like, he hasn't. I'm looking at him. He's like he's not in what you guys are seeing. He's like, next. He's not what you can see, right? Like, he's just to himself. I don't. All right. He's on his way. Okay, hold on. Hey, bud. Don't say anything. Hey, man. You pushing the cart again? Okay. remember to turn on the remember to turn it on. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Back to our little presentation.
Girl, do you think you can desecrate on the sanctity of these Hunger Games? I can't believe this. Have you lost your mind?
Shooting, sweetheart.
Do not entertain
That was awesome. What now tell me. What did their faces look like?
I mean, I guess he was kind of shocked.
Peter Malark. 8. We can work. We can work with that. Katniss Everdeen. 11.
Yeah! I never doubted you for a second! Oh my
You're
god!
about to win these games!
Yeah!
You are going to win!
Yeah!
Yes.
And Peter, you know what? Just because you're average doesn't make you average.
Hello.
Yes?
How's
She
it?
shot an arrow at your head!
No, okay, no, it was at an apple.
Near your head.
Okay.
You
Potato.
concede that?
What?
What? Potato? At an apple.
I was saying potato. It's a phrase.
Finish your damn thoughts and have a seat.
Me finish my thoughts.
Have a seat.
Okay. Hello.
No, Dad, what? No.
What is your deal?
I'm teasing you. I like you, Seneca. I like you a lot. Do you know why do you think we have a winner?
Because it's the Hunger Games?
Oh my god, are you fucking Captain Obvious?
No, I'm not. I'm Seneca Crane, game maker.
Why do we have a winner?
Cause
Oh,
Can you just say what you mean?
Let me. If we wanted to intimidate the districts, why not just round up 24 kids at random and execute them all at once? Be a lot faster.
yeah, it would be a lot faster now. I don't know.
Hope.
Oh, hope. Why didn't I think of it?
Hope.
What's it?
It's the only thing stronger than fear. Little hope is good. A lot of hope is dangerous. Spark is fine, so long as it is contained.
Why do you speak in riddles?
Glimmer, Spice.
Okay. All right, we need to get Bro back. Hold on. I don't know his name. I still don't know his name. I don't even have like. Are you back? Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. Oh wait, no, you're not here. There you are. Hey man, thank you. Oh, turn off the. Yeah. Okay. Bye, bud. Wait, why is he not moving? Oh wait, hold on. Bye, bye. Bye, bye. Okay. I don't know his name. Okay. We are on chapter 9. So Peeta decided to get coached separately. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Also, we're kind of like almost halfway into the book, and we're not in the Hunger Games yet. I love that, Loki. Betrayal. Betrayed. That's the first thing I feel, which is ludicrous. For there to be betrayal, there would have been trust first, between Peeta and me. And trust has not been part of the agreement. We're tributes, but the boy who risked a beating to give me bread, the one who steadied me in the chariot, who covered for me with the red-headed Avox girl, who insisted Haymitch know my hunting skills. Was there some part of me that couldn't help trusting him? On the other hand, I'm relieved that we can stop the pretense of being friends. Obviously, whatever thin connection we'd foolishly formed has been severed. In high time, too. The games begin in 2 days, and trust will only be a weakness. Whatever triggered Peeta's decision, and I suspected it had to do with my outperforming him in training, I should be nothing but grateful for it. Maybe he's finally accepted the fact that the sooner we openly acknowledge that we are enemies, the better. Oh, Lord. Good, I say. So what's the schedule? You'll each have 4 hours with Effie for presentation and 4 with me for content, says Haymitch. You start with Effie, Katniss. I can't imagine what Effie will have to teach me that could take 4 hours, but she's got me working down to the last minute. We go to my room and she puts me in a full-length gown and high-heeled shoes, not the ones I'll be wearing for the actual interview, and instructs me on walking. The shoes are the worst part. I've never worn high heels and can't get used to essentially wobbling around on the balls of my feet. But Effie runs around in them full time, and I'm determined that if she can do it, so can I. The dress possesses another problem. It keeps tangling around my shoes, so of course I hitch it up, and then Effie swoops down on me like a hawk, smacking my hand and yelling, "Not above the ankle." When I finally conquer walking, there's still sitting posture. Apparently I have a tendency to duck my head, eye contact, hand gestures, and smiling. Smiling is mostly about smiling more. Effie makes me say 100 banal phrases starting with a smile while smiling or ending with a smile. By lunch, the muscles in my cheeks are twitching from overuse. Well, that's the best thing I can do, Effie says with a sigh. Just remember, Katniss, you want the audience to like you. And you don't think they will, I ask? Not if you glare at them the entire time. Why don't you save that for the arena? Instead, think of yourself among friends, says Effie. They're betting on how long I'll live, I burst out. They're not my friends. We'll try and pretend, snaps Effie. Then she composes herself and beams at me. See? Like this. I'm smiling at you even though you're aggravating me. Yes, it feels very convincing, I say. I'm going to eat. I kick off my heels and stomp to the dining room, hiking my skirt up to my thighs. Peeta and Haymitch seem in pretty good moods, so I'm thinking the content session should be an improvement over the morning. I couldn't be more wrong. After lunch, Haymitch takes me into the sitting room, directs me to the couch, and then just frowns at me for a while. What? I finally ask. I'm trying to figure out what to do with you, he says. How we're going to present you. Are you going to be like charming? Aloof? Fierce? So far you're shining like a star. You volunteered to save your sister. Cinna made you look unforgettable. You've got the top training score. People are intrigued, but no one knows who you are. The impression you make tomorrow will decide exactly what I can get you in terms of sponsors, says Haymitch. Having watched the tribute interviews all my life, I know there's truth to what he's saying. If you appeal to crowd either by being humorous or brutal or eccentric, you gain favor. What's Peeta's approach, or am I not allowed to ask, I say? Likeable. He has a sort of self-deprecating humor, naturally. Good lord. Whereas when you open your mouth, you come across more as sullen and hostile. I do not, I say, please. I don't know where you pulled that cheery, wavy girl on the chariot from, but I haven't seen her before or since, says Haymitch. And you've given me so many reasons to be cheery, as I counter. But you don't have to please me. I'm not going to sponsor you. So pretend like I'm an audience. I'm the audience, says Haymitch. Delight me. Fine, I snarl. Haymitch takes the role of the interviewer, and I try to answer his questions in a winning fashion. But I can't. I'm too angry with Haymitch for what he said, and I even have to answer the questions. All I can think is how unjust the whole thing is. Oh, I need to drink water. Hold on. Right. But I'm too angry with Haymitch for what he said, and that I have to answer the questions. All I can think is how unjust the whole thing is. The Hunger Games. Why am I hopping around like some trained dog trying to please people I hate? The longer the interview goes on, the more my fury seems to rise to the surface, until I'm literally spitting out answers at him. All right, enough, he says. We've got to find another angle. Not only are you hostile, I don't know anything about you. I've asked you 50 questions and you still have no sense of your life, your family, what you care about. They want to know about you, Katniss. But I don't want them to. They've already taken my future. They can't have the things that matter to me in the past, I say. Then lie. Make something up, says Haymitch. I'm not good at lying, I say. Well, you better learn fast. You've got about as much charm as a dead slug, says Haymitch. Ouch. That hurts. Even Haymitch must know he's been too harsh because his voice softens. Here's an idea. Try acting humble. Humble, I echo. That you can't believe a little girl from District 12 has done this well. The whole thing's been more than you could have dreamed of. Talk about Cinna's clothes, how nice the people are, how the city amazes you. If you won't talk about yourself, at least compliment the audience. Just keep turning it back around all night, alright? Gush. The next hours are agonizing. At once it's clear I cannot gush. We try me playing cocky, but I just don't have the arrogance. Apparently I'm too vulnerable for ferocity, and I'm not witty, funny, sexy, or mysterious. By the end of the session, I am no one at all. Haymitch started drinking somewhere around witty, and a nasty edge has crept into his voice. I give up, sweetheart. Just answer the questions and try not to let the audience see how openly you despise them. Yikes. I have dinner that night in my room, ordering an outrageous number of delicacies, eating myself sick, and then taking out my anger at Haymitch at the Hunger Games at every living being in the capital by smashing dishes around my room. When the girl with the red hair comes in to turn down my bed, her eyes widen at the mess. Just leave it, I yelled at her. Just leave it alone. I hate her too. An Avox, dude. With her knowing reproachful eyes that call me a coward, a monster, a puppet of the capital. Both now and then, for her, justice must finally be happening. At least my death will help pay for the life of the boy in the woods. But instead of fleeing the room, the girl closes the door behind her and goes to the bathroom. She comes back with a damp cloth and wipes my face gently, then cleans the blood from my broken plate off my hands. Oh, why is she doing this? Why am I letting her? I should have tried to save you, I whisper. She shakes her head. Does this mean we were right to stand by? That she has forgiven me? No. It was wrong, I say. She taps her lips with her fingers, then points to my chest. I think she means that I would just have ended up an Avox too. Probably would have. An Avox or dead. I spend the next hour helping the redhead girl clean the room. When all the garbage has been dropped down to a disposal and the food cleaned away, she turns down my bed. I crawl in between the sheets like a 5-year-old and let her tuck me in. Oh, then she goes. I want her to stay until I fall asleep. To be there when I wake up. I want the protection of this girl, even though she never had mine. In the morning, it's not the girl, but my prep team who are hanging over me. My lessons with Effie and Haymitch are over. This day belongs to Cinna. He is my last hope. Maybe you can make me look so wonderful no one will care what comes out of my mouth. The team works on me until late afternoon, turning my skin to glowing satin, stenciling patterns on my arms, painting flame designs on my 20 perfect nails. Then Venia goes to work on my hair, weaving strands of red into a pattern that begins at my left ear, wraps around my head, and then falls in one braid down my right shoulder. They erase my face with a layer of pale makeup and draw my features back out. Huge dark eyes, full red lips, lashes that throw off bits of light when I blink. Finally, they cover my entire body in a powder that makes me shimmer in gold dust. Then Cinna enters with what I assume is my dress, but I can't really see it because it's covered. Close your eyes, he orders. I can feel the silken inside as they slip it down over my naked body. Wow. Then the weight. It must be 40 pounds. I clutch Octavia's hand as I blindly step into my shoes, glad to find they are at least 2 inches lower than the pair Effie had me practice in. There's some adjusting and fidgeting, then silence. Can I open my eyes? I ask. Yes, says Cinna. Open them. The creature standing before me in the full-length mirror has come from another world, where skin shimmers and eyes flash, and apparently they make their clothes from jewels. Because my dress? Oh, my dress is entirely covered in reflective precious gems, red and yellow and white, with bits of blue and that accent the tips of the flame design. The slightest movement gives the impression I am engulfed in tongues of fire. I am not pretty. I am not beautiful. I am as radiant as the sun. Alright, this just sounds like a dude falling into madness. That just sounds like a line from Dark Souls or something. I am as radiant as the sun. I am not pretty. I am not beautiful. For a while, we all just stare at me. Oh, Cinna, I finally whisper. Thank you. Twirl for me, he says. I hold up my arms and spin in a circle. The prep team screams in admiration. Cinna dismisses the team and has me moved around in the dress and shoes, which are infinitely more manageable than Effie's. The dress hangs in such a way that I don't have to lift the skirt when I walk, leaving me with one less thing to worry about. So, all ready for the interview then? Asked Cinna. I can see by his expression that he's been talking to Haymitch, that he knows how dreadful I am. I'm awful. Haymitch called me a dead slug. Oh, no matter what we tried, I couldn't do it. I just can't be the one of those people he wants me to be, I say. Cinna thinks about this moment. Why don't you just be yourself? That's what Haymitch was also kind of mentioning, is that she should just be herself. Myself? That's not good either. Haymitch said I'm sullen and hostile, I say. Well, you are. Around Haymitch, says Cinna with a grin. I don't find you so. The prep team adores you. You even won over the game makers. And as for the citizens of the capital, well, they can't stop talking about you. No one can help but admire your spirit. My spirit? This is a new thought. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but it suggests I'm a fighter. In a sort of way, in a sort of brave way. It's not as if I'm never friendly. Okay, maybe I don't go around loving everybody I meet. Maybe my smiles are hard to come by, but I do care for some people. Cinna takes my icy hands in his warm ones. Suppose when you answer the questions, you think you're addressing a friend back home. Who would your best friend be? Asks Cinna. Gale, I say instantly. Only it doesn't make sense, Cinna. I would never be telling Gale those things about me. He already knows them. What about me? Could you think of me as a friend? Asked Cinna. Oh. Her first capital friend. Of all the people I've met since I left home, Cinna is by far my favorite. I liked him right off the bat, and he hasn't disappointed me yet. I think so, but I'll be sitting on the main platform with the other stylists. You'll be able to look right at me. When you're asked a question, find me and answer it as honestly as possible, says Cinna. Even if what I think is horrible, I ask, because it might be, really. Especially if what you think is horrible, says Cinna. You'll try it. I nod. It's a plan, or at least a straw to grasp at. Too soon it's time to go. The interviews take place on a stage constructed in front of the training center. Once I leave my room, it will be my only minutes until I'm in front of the crowd, the cameras, all Panem. As Cinna turns the doorknob, I stop his hand. Cinna, and completely overcome with stage fright. Remember, they already love you, he says gently. Just be yourself. We meet up with the rest of the District 12 crowd at the elevator. Portia and her gang have been hard at work. Peeta looks striking in a black suit with flame accents. While we look well together, it's a relief not to be dressed identically. Haymitch and Effie are all fancied up for the occasion. I avoid Haymitch, but accept Effie's compliments. Effie can be tiresome and clueless, but she's not destructive like Haymitch. When the elevator opens, the other tributes are being lined up to take the stage. All 24 of us sit in a big arc throughout the interviews. I'll be last or second to last since the girl tribute precedes the boy from each district. How I wished I could be first and get the whole thing out of my way. Now I'll have to listen to how witty, funny, humble, fierce, and charming everybody else is before I go up. Plus, the audience will start to get bored just as the game makers did. And I can't exactly shoot an arrow into the crowd to get their attention. Damn. Right before we parade onto the stage, Haymitch comes up behind Peeta and growls, "Remember, you're still a happy pair, so act like it." What? I thought we'd been in that when Peeta asked for separate coaching, but I guess that was a private, not a public thing. Anyway, there's not much chance for... Oh, hold on. Chance for interaction now. As we walk single file to our seats and take our places. Just stepping on the bridge on the stage makes my breath rapid and shallow. I can feel my pulse pounding in my temples. It's a relief to get to my chair, because between the heels and my legs shaking, I'm afraid I'll trip. Although evening is falling, the city circles brighter than a summer's day. An elevated seating unit has been set for prestigious guests, with a stylist commanding the front row. The cameras will turn to them when the crowd is reacting to their handiwork. A large balcony off a building to the right has been reserved for the game makers. Television crews have claimed most of the other balconies, but the city circle and the avenues that feed into it are completely packed with people. Standing room only. At homes and community halls around the country, every television set is turned on. Every citizen of Panem is tuned in, and there will be no blackouts tonight. Oh, everyone's here. Caesar Flickerman, the man who has hosted the interviews for more than 40 years. That is crazy. Bounces onto the stage. It's a little scary because his appearance has been virtually unchanged during all that time. Same face under a coating of pure white makeup, same hairstyle that he dyes a different color for each Hunger Games. Damn. Same ceremonial suit, midnight blue dotted with 1,000 tiny electric bulbs that twinkle like stars. They do surgery in the capital to make people appear younger and thinner. In District 12, looking old is something of an achievement since so many people die early. You see an elderly person, you want to congratulate them on their longevity. Ask the secret of survival. A plump person is envied because they aren't scrapping by like the majority of us, but here it is different. Wrinkles aren't desirable. A round belly isn't a sign of success. This year, Caesar's hair is powder blue and his eyelids and lips are coated in the same blue. He looks freakish, but less frightening than he did last year when his color was crimson and he seemed to be bleeding. Caesar tells a few jokes to warm up the audience, but then gets down to business. Lock in. The girl tribute from District 1, looking provocative in a see-through gold gown, steps up to the center of the stage to join Caesar for her interview. You can tell her mentor didn't have any trouble coming up with an angle for her. With that flowing blonde hair, emerald green eyes, and her body tall and lush, she's sexy all the way. Each interview only lasts 3 minutes. Then a buzzer goes off and the next tribute is up. I'll say this for Caesar. He really does his best to make the tributes shine. He's friendly, tries to set the nerves ones at ease, laughs at lame jokes, and can turn a weak response into a memorable one by the way he reacts. I sit I sit like a lady, the way Effie showed me, as the districts slip by. 2, 3, 4. Everyone seems to be playing up some angle. The monstrous boy from District 2 is a ruthless killing machine. The fox-faced girl from District 5, sly and elusive. I spotted Cinna as soon as he took his place, but even his presence cannot relax me. 8, 9, 10. The crippled boy from 10 is very quiet. My palms are sweating like crazy, but the jeweled dress isn't absorbent, and they skid right off if I try to dry them. 11. Rue, who is dressed in a gossamer gown, complete with wings, flutters her way to Caesar. A hush falls over the crowd as the sight of this magical wisp is a tribute. Caesar's very sweet with her, complimenting her 7 in training, an excellent score for one so small. When he asks her what her greatest strength in the arena will be, she doesn't hesitate. I'm very hard to catch, she says in a tremulous voice. And if they can't catch me, they can't kill me, so don't count me out. I wouldn't in a million years, says Caesar encouragingly. Oh, Caesar, you bastard. The boy tribute from District 11, Thresh, has the same dark skin as Rue, but the resemblance stops there. He's one of the giants, probably 6.5 feet tall and built like an ox. But I notice he rejected the invitations from the career tributes to join their crowd. Instead, he's been very solitary, speaking to no one, showing little interest in training. Even so, he scored a 10, and it's not hard to imagine he impressed the game makers. He ignores Caesar's attempts at banter and answers with a yes or no, or just remains silent. If only I was his size, I could get away with sullen and hostile, and it would be just fine. I bet half the sponsors are at least considering him. If I had any money, I'd bet on him myself. And then they're calling Katniss Everdeen, and I feel myself as if in a dream, standing and making my way center stage. I shake Caesar's outstretched hand, and he has the same grace not to immediately wipe his off on his suit. So, Katniss, the capital must be quite a change from District 12. What's impressed you most since you arrived here? Asked Caesar. What? What did he say? As if the words make no sense. My mouth has gone as dry as sawdust. I desperately find Cinna in the crowd and lock eyes with him. I imagine the words coming from his lips. What's impressed you most since you arrived here? I rack my brain for something that make me happy here. Be honest, I think. Be honest. The lamb stew. Alright, so she's like in the capital, and they're like, hey, so how grateful are you to be in the capital, right? They're trying to get that out of them. They're like, hey, poor person, poor district. You fuck with our style? You like us? Tell us why you like us, right? You got good food. Yeah, you got great food, actually. Capital. What the fuck? Okay. The lamb stew. I get out. Caesar laughs, and I vaguely realize some of the audience has joined in. The one with the dried plums? Asks Caesar. I nod. Oh, I eat it by the bucketful. He turns sideways to the audience in horror, hand on his stomach. It doesn't show, does it? They shout reassurances to him and applaud. This is what I mean about Caesar. He tries to help you out. Now, Katniss, he says confidently. When you came out in the opening ceremonies, my heart actually stopped. What did you think of the costume? Cinna raises one eyebrow at me. Be honest. You mean after I got over my fear of being burned alive? I asked. Big laugh. Massive laugh. A real one from the audience. Yes, start then, says Caesar. Cinna, my friend, I should tell him anyway. I thought Cinna was brilliant, and it was the most gorgeous costume I'd ever seen, and I couldn't believe I was wearing it. I can't believe I'm wearing this either. I lift up my skirt to spread it out. I mean, look at it. As the audience oohs and ahs, I see Cinna make the tiniest circular motion with his finger, but I know what he's saying. Twirl for me. As the audience, I spin in a circle once, and the reaction is immediate. Oh, do it again, says Caesar, and so I lift up my arms and spin around and around, letting my skirt fly out. Letting the dress engulf me in flames, the audience breaks into cheers. When I stop, I clutch Caesar's arm. Don't stop, he says. I have to, I'm dizzy. I'm also giggling, which I think I've done maybe never in my lifetime. But the nerves and the spinning have gotten to me. Caesar wraps a protective arm around me. Don't worry, I've got you. Can't have you following in your mentor's footsteps. Oh, a dig at Haymitch. Oh, everyone's hooting as the camera finds Haymitch, who is by now famous for his head dive at the reaping. And he waves them away good naturally and points back to me. It's alright, Caesar reassures the crowd. She's safe with me. So how about that training score? 11. Give us a hint what happened in there. I glance at the game makers on the balcony and bite my lip. All I can say is I think it was a first. The cameras are right on the game makers, who are chuckling and nodding. You're killing us, says Caesar, as if in actual pain. Details. I address the balcony. I'm not supposed to talk about it, right? The game makers who fell in the punch bowl shouts out, She's not! Thank you, I say. Sorry, my lips are sealed. Let's go back then, to the moment they called your sister's name at the reaping, says Caesar. His mood is quieter now, and you volunteered. Can you tell us about her? No, not all of you, but maybe Cinna. I don't think I'm imagining the sadness on his face. Her name's Prim. She's just 12, and I love her more than anything. You could hear a pin drop in the city circle now. What did she say to you after the reaping? Caesar asks. Be honest. Be honest. I swallow hard. She asked me to try really hard to win. The audience is frozen, hanging on my every word. And what did you say? Prompts Caesar gently. But instead of warmth, I feel an icy rigidity take over my body. My muscles tense as they do before a kill. When I speak, my voice seems to have dropped an octave. I swore I would. I bet you did, says Caesar, giving me a squeeze. The buzzer goes off. Sorry, we're out of time. Best of luck, Katniss Everdeen, tribute of District 12. The applause continues long after I'm seated. I look to Cinna for reassurance. He gave me a subtle thumbs up. Dude, the fucking... I swore I would. That's crazy. I'm still in a daze for the first part of Peeta's interview. Oh, wait. 129... 130, okay. I'm still in a daze for the first part of Peeta's interview. He has the audience from the get-go, though. I can hear them laughing, shouting out. He plays up the baker's son thing, comparing the tributes to the breads from their districts. Then has a funny anecdote about the perils of the capital showers. Tell me, do I still smell like roses? He asks Caesar. And then there's a whole run where they take turns sniffing each other. Then that brings down the house. I'm coming back into focus when Caesar asks him if he has a girlfriend back home. Oh. Peeta hesitates, then gives an unconvincing shake of his head. Handsome lad like you, there must be some special girl. Come on, what's her name? Says Caesar. Peeta sighs. Well, there is this one girl. I've had a crush on her ever since I can remember, but I'm pretty sure she didn't know I was alive until the reaping. Sounds of sympathy from the crowd. Unrequited love they can relate to. She have another fellow? Asked Caesar. I don't know, but a lot of boys like her, says Peeta. So, here's what you do. You win, you go home, she can't turn you down then, eh? Says Caesar encouragingly. I don't think it's gonna work out. Winning won't help in my case, says Peeta. Why ever not? Says Caesar mystified. Peeta blushes, beet red, and stammers out. Because she came here with me. Dude. Okay, what's the author? What's the author? Hold on. Susan Collins. Do you know how to finish a chapter even if it's just like fucking chapter 3 or like chapter 7, like an odd chapter, like maybe even like a throwaway. Yo, I didn't even know you were streaming. Oh shit, what's good? What's good? I'm trying something new for New Year. So we're reading The Hunger Games. We just finished chapter 9. Yeah. Wait, we just hit the 2-hour mark. Ooh. Ooh, and it's now saying part 2 the games. Okay. We might be at a good stopping point. We did read chapters 6 through 9. I feel like part 2 the games should be a good stopping point. Or do we should do 5 chapters. Cuz they're still doing the interviews and stuff. Yeah. Peeta just name dropped Katniss in the interview. So it's saying part 2 of the games, but they're still in the interview thing. Should we do another chapter? Well, let's try to speed up. Hold on. Let's bring out our friend. You know. Still don't have a name for him. Come on, buddy. Get over here. Thank you. Thank you, bud. Right there is fine. Thank you, bud. Alright, turn on the TV. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, we still don't have a name for him. He's really cool. He's really chill. Yeah, I love him.
And everything nice. Marvel, ladies and gentlemen.
It's an honor to be representing my district. I'm prepared, I'm vicious, I'm a fighter.
Jesus Christ. So your mother was a bear, or became a bear, and then the curse was lifted.
I'm Foxface.
The green screen.
How'd the flames feel? Must have been hot on your leg.
Excuse me? Katniss. Everdeen.
What?
How did the flames feel?
I couldn't feel them, but I was scared.
Were they real flames?
No, but I'm wearing them today, if you'd like to see.
Absolutely. We'd love to see. Would we like to see? please. Wow. Oh, goodness. Yes. Are we seeing this? Don't get dizzy. Lovely skin technique. The way your head whips around is incredible. And I like the way the braid matches the color of your hair. So, Katniss, if I had half of a mind and half a wig, I'd say that you volunteered for your sister. Is that correct?
I did. I told her I would try to win.
And when you shall. Maybe.
She's really good at this. She's really good. You're really, really good at this. You're a star.
Thank you, Effie.
You're a star. You're welcome.
Peter, Baker's boy. You're a good-looking guy. You have a girl back home, a suitor?
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Like a crush. I have
Okay.
a crush.
Way with words, he does have that.
She's the other girl. She's the girl in my district.
One more time, say it
She's the girl in my it's Katniss.
Say again, back here.
It's the girl in my district, Katniss.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I have to kill her.
Okay.
Oh shit. Hold on. Alrighty. Well, we are 18 minutes out of 42 for the film of this book. Let's turn off the TV on this guy and then wave goodbye to this guy. Bye-bye. I still don't know the name of you. Alrighty. Well, we seem to be in kind of a pickle. Because what I see before me is chapter 10. And I did say every 5 chapters. But the page before chapter 10 has a giant blank page that just says part 2, the games. So you know what? Let's read chapter 10. Yeah. Hold on. 148 to 133. Alrighty. For a moment, the camera's hold on Peeta's downcast eyes as what he says sinks in. Then I can see my face, mouth half open in a mix of surprise and protest, magnified on every screen as I realize. Me, he means me. I press my lips together and stare at the floor, hoping this will conceal the emotions starting to boil up inside me. Oh, that's a piece of bad luck, says Caesar, and there's a real edge of pain in his voice. The crowd is murmuring in agreement. A few have even given agonized cries. It's not good, agrees Peeta. Well, I don't think any of us can blame you. It'd be hard not to fall for that young lady, says Caesar. She didn't know? Peeta shakes his head. Not until now. I allow my eyes to flicker up to the screen long enough to see that the blush on his cheeks is unmistakable. Wouldn't you love to pull her back out here and get a response? Caesar asks the audience. The crowd screams assent. Sadly, the rules are rules, and Katniss Everdeen's time has been spent. Well, best of luck to you, Peeta Mellark, and I think I speak for all of Panem when I say our hearts go with yours. The roar of the crowd is deafening. Peeta has absolutely wiped the rest of us off the map. Wiped the rest of us off the map with his declaration of love for me. When the audience finally settles down, he chokes out of a quiet thank you and returns to his seat. We stand for the anthem. I have to raise my head out of the required respect and cannot avoid seeing that every screen is now dominated by a shot of Peeta and me, separated by a few feet that in the viewers' heads can never be breached. Poor tragic us. But I know better. After the anthem, the tributes file back into the training center lobby and onto the elevators. I make sure to veer into a car that does not contain Peeta. The crowd slows our entourages of stylists and mentors and chaperones, so we have only each other for company. No one speaks. My elevator stops to deposit 4 tributes before I'm alone, and then find the doors opening on the 12th floor. Peeta has only just stepped from his car when I slam my palms into his chest. He loses his balance and crashes into an ugly urn filled with fake flowers. The urn tips and shatters into 100 of tiny pieces. Peeta lands in the shards, and blood immediately flows from his hands. "What was that for?" he says, aghast. "You have no right to go saying those things about me," I shout at him. Now the elevator's open and the whole crew is there. Effie, Hamish, Cinna, Portia. "What's going on?" says Effie, a note of hysteria in her voice. "Did you fall?" "After she shoved me," says Peeta, as Effie and Cinna help him up. Hamish turns on me. "Shoved him? This was your idea, wasn't it? Turning me into some kind of fool in front of the entire country?" I answer. "It was my idea," says Peeta, wincing as he pulls spikes of pottery from his palms. "Hamish just helped me with it." "Yes, Hamish is very helpful to you," I say. "You are a fool," Hamish says in disgust. "Do you think he hurt you? That boy just gave you something you could never achieve on your own. He made me look weak, I say. He made you look desirable. And let's face it, you can use all the help you can get in that department. You were about as romantic as dirt until he said he wanted you. Now they all do. You're all they're talking about. The star-crossed lovers from District 12, says Hamish. But we're not star-crossed lovers, I say. Hamish grabs my shoulders and pins me against the wall. Who cares? It's all a big show. It's all how you're perceived. The more I could say about you after your interview was that you were nice enough, although that in itself was small miracle. Now I can say you're a heartbreaker. Oh, how the boys back home fall longingly at your feet. Which do you think will get you more sponsors? The smell of wine on his breath makes me sick. I shove his hands off my shoulders and step away, trying to clear my head. Cinna comes over and puts his arms around me. He's right, Katniss. I don't know what to think. I should have been told so I didn't look so stupid. No, your reaction was perfect. If you'd known, it would have read as real, says Portia. She's just worried about her boyfriend, says Peeta gruffly, tossing away a bloody piece of the urn. My cheeks burn again at the thought of Gale. I don't have a boyfriend. Whatever, says Peeta, but I bet he's smart enough to know a bluff when he sees it. Besides, you didn't say you loved me, so what does it matter? Ooh. The words are sinking in, my anger fading. I'm torn now between thinking I've been used and thinking I've been giving an edge. Hamish is right. I survived my interview. But what was I really? A silly girl spinning in a sparkling dress, giggling. The only moment of any substance I had was when I talked about Prim. Compared to that was Thresh, his silent, deadly power, and I'm forgettable. Silly and sparkly and forgettable. No, not entirely forgettable. I had my 11 in training. But now Peta has made me an object of love, not just his. To hear him tell it, I have many admirers, and if the audience really thinks we're in love, I remember how strongly they responded to his confession. Star-crossed lovers. Haymitch is right. They eat that stuff up in the Capitol. Suddenly I'm worried that I didn't react properly. After he said he loved me, did you think I could be in love with him too? I ask. I did, says Portia. The way you avoided looking at the cameras. The blush. The others chime in agreeing. You're golden, sweetheart. You're going to have sponsors lined up around the block, says Haymitch. I'm embarrassed about my reaction. I force myself to acknowledge Peta. I'm sorry I shoved you. Doesn't matter, he shrugs, although it's technically illegal. Are your hands okay, I asked. They'll be alright, he says. In the silence that follows, delicious smells of our dinner wafts in the dining room. Come on, let's eat, says Haymitch. We all follow him to the table and take our places, but then Peta is bleeding too heavily, and Portia lends him off for medical treatment. We start the cream and rose petal soup without them. By the time we're finished, they're back. Peta's hands are wrapping in bandages. I can't help feeling guilty. Tomorrow we will be in the arena. He has done me a favor, and I have answered with an injury. Will I never stop owing him? True. After dinner, we watched the replay in the sitting room. I seem frilly and shallow, twirling and giggling my dress, although the others assure me I am charming. Peta actually is charming, and then utterly winning as the boy in love. And there I am, blushing and confused, made beautiful by Cinna's hands, desirable by Peta's confession, tragic by circumstance, and by all accounts, unforgettable. When the anthem finishes and the screen goes dark, a hush falls on the room. Tomorrow, at dawn, will be roused and prepared for the arena. The actual games don't start until 10 because so many of the Capitol residences rise later. But Peta and I must make an early start. There is no telling how far we will travel to the arena that has been prepared for this year's games. I know Haymitch and Effie will not be going with us. As soon as they leave here, they'll be at the game's headquarters, hopefully madly signing up our sponsors, working out a strategy on how and when to deliver the gifts to us. Cinna and Portia will travel with us to the very spot from which we will be launched into the arena. Still, final goodbyes must be said here. Effie takes both of us by the hand, which, with actual tears in her eyes, wishes us well. Thanks us for being the best tributes it has ever been her privilege to sponsor. And then, because it's Effie, and she apparently required by law to say something awful, she adds, I wouldn't be at all surprised if I finally get promoted to a decent district next year. Jesus. Then she kisses us each on the cheek and hurries out, overcome with either the emotional parting or the possible improvement of her fortunes. Haymitch crosses his arms and looks us both over. Any final words of advice, asked Peta? When the gong sounds, get the hell out of there. You're neither of you up to the bloodbath at the cornucopia. Just clear out, put as much distance as you can between yourselves and the others, and find a source of water, he says. Got it. And after that, I asked, stay alive, says Haymitch. It's the same advice he gave us on the train, but he's not drunk and laughing this time. And we only nod. What else is there to say? When I head to my room, Peta lingers to talk to Portia. I'm glad. Whatever strange words of parting we exchange can wait until tomorrow. My covers are drawn back, but there is no sign of the redhead Avox girl. I wish I knew her name, but I should have asked. She could write it down, maybe, or act it out. But perhaps that would only result in punishment for her. I take a shower and scrub the gold paint, the makeup, the scent of beauty from my body. All that remains of the design team's efforts are the flames on my nails. I decided to keep them as a reminder of who I am to the audience. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. Perhaps it'll give me something to hold on to in the days to come. I pull on a thick, fleecy nightgown and climb into bed. It takes me about 5 seconds to realize I'll never fall asleep. And I need sleep desperately because in the arena, every moment I give in to fatigue will be an invitation to death. It's no good. 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 pass. My eyelids refuse to get heavy. I can't stop trying to imagine exactly what terrain I'll be thrown in. Desert? Swamp? A frigid wasteland? Above all, I am hoping for trees, which may afford me some means of concealment in food and shelter. Often there are trees because barren landscapes are dull and the game resolves too quickly without them. But what will the climate be like? Would the traps have the game makers hidden to liven up the slower moments? And then there are my fellow tributes. The more anxious I am to find sleep, the more it eludes me. Finally, I am too restless to even stay in bed. I pace the floor, heart beating too fast, breathing too short. My room feels like a prison cell. If I don't get any air soon, I'm going to start to throw things again. I run down the hall to the door to the roof. It's not only unlocked but ajar. Perhaps someone forgot to close it, but it doesn't matter. The energy field enclosing the roof prevents any desperate form of escape. And I'm not looking to escape, only to fill my lungs with air. And I want to see the sky and the moon on the last night that no one will be hunting me. The roof is not lit at night, but as soon as my bare feet reach its tiled surface, I see his silhouette. Black against the lights, the shine endlessly in the Capitol. There's quite a commotion going on down in the streets, music and singing and car horns, none of which I could hear through the thick glass window panels in my room. I could slip away now, without him noticing me. He wouldn't hear me over the din, but the night's air is so sweet, I can't bear returning to that stuffy cage of a room. And what difference does it make, whether we speak or not? My feet move soundlessly across the tiles. I'm only a yard behind him when I say, "You should be getting some sleep." He starts, but doesn't turn. I can see him give his head a slight shake. I didn't want to miss the party. It's for us, after all. I come up beside him and lean over the edge of the rail. The wide streets are full of dancing people. I squint to make out their tiny figures in more detail. Are they in costume? Who could tell? Peeta answers. With all the crazy clothes they wear here. Couldn't sleep either. Couldn't turn off my mind, I say. Thinking about your family, he asks. No, I admit a bit guiltily. All I can do is wonder about tomorrow, which is pointless, of course. In the light from below, I can see his face now, the awkward way he holds his bandaged hands. I really am sorry about your hands. It doesn't matter, Katniss, he says. I've never been a contender of these games anyway. That's no way to be thinking, I say. Why not? It's true. My best hope is to not disgrace myself and... He hesitates. And what? I say. I don't know how to say it exactly. Only... I want to die as myself. Does that make any sense? He asks. I shake my head. How could he die as anyone but himself? I don't want them to change me in there. Turn me into some kind of monster that I'm not. I bite my lip, feeling inferior. While I've been ruminating on the availability of trees, Peeta has been struggling with how to maintain his identity, his purity of self. Do you mean you won't kill anyone? I ask. No, when the time comes, I'm sure I'll kill just everybody else. I can't go down without a fight, only I keep wishing I could think of a way to show the Capitol they don't own me. That I'm more than just a piece in their game, says Peeta. But you're not, I say. None of us are. That's how the games work. Okay, but within that framework, there's still you. There's still me, he insists. Don't you see? A little. Only... No offense, but who cares? PETA. No offense, but who cares, PETA? I do. I mean, what else am I allowed to care about at this point? He asks angrily. He's locked those blue eyes on mine now, demanding an answer. I take a step back. Care about what Hamish said about staying alive. PETA smiles at me, sad and mocking. Okay, thanks for the tip, sweetheart. It's like a slap in the face. His use of Hamish's patronizing endearment. Look, if you want to spend the last hours of your life planning some noble death in the arena, that's your choice. I want to spend mine in District 12. Wouldn't surprise me if you do, says PETA. Give my mother my best when you make it back, will you? Count on it, I say. Then I turn and leave the roof. I spend the rest of the night slipping in and out of a doze, imagining the cutting remarks I will make to PETA Malark in the morning. PETA Malark. We will see how high and mighty he is when he's faced with life and death. He'll probably turn into one of those raging beast tributes, the kind who tries to eat someone's heart after they've killed them. These are children we're talking about. These are children we're talking about. There was a guy like that a few years ago from District 6 called Titus. Shit. He went completely savage at the game makers, and the game makers had to have him stunned with electric guns to collect the bodies of the players he'd killed before he ate them. There are no rules in the arena, but cannibalism doesn't play well with the capital audience, so they tried to head it off. There was some speculation that the avalanche that finally took Titus out was specifically engineered to ensure the victor was not a lunatic. Oh. I don't see PETA in the morning. Cinna comes to me before dawn, gives me a simple shift to wear, and guides me to the roof. My final dressing and preparations will be done in the catacombs under the arena itself. A hovercraft appears out of thin air, just like the one did in the woods the day I saw the redhead Avox girl captured. And ladders drop down. I place my hands and feet on the lower rugs, and instantly it's as if I'm frozen. Some sort of current glues me to the ladder while I'm lifted safely inside. I expect the ladder to release me then, but I'm still stuck when a woman in a white coat approaches carrying a syringe. This is just your tracker, Katniss. The stiller you are, the more effectively I can place it, she says. Still, I'm a statue. But that doesn't prevent me from feeling the sharp stab of pain as the needle inserts the metal tracking device deep under the skin of the inside of my forearm. This is a children's book. Still. Now that the game makers will always be able to trace my whereabouts in the arena, wouldn't you want to lose a tribute? Wouldn't want to lose a tribute. As soon as the tracker's in place, the ladder releases me. The woman disappears and Cinna is retrieved from the roof. An Avox boy comes in and directs us to a room where breakfast has been laid out. Despite the tension in my stomach, I eat as much as I can, although none of the delectable food makes any impression on me. I'm so nervous I could be eating coal dust. The one thing that distracts me at all is the view from the windows as we sail over the city and then to the wilderness beyond. This is what birds see, only they're free and safe, the very opposite of me. The ride lasts about half an hour before the windows black out, suggesting that we're nearing the arena. The hovercraft lands and Cinna and I go back to the ladder, only this time it leads down into a tube underground, into the catacombs that lie beneath the arena. We follow instructions to my destination, a chamber for my preparation. In the capital, they call it the launch room. In the districts, it's referred to as the stockyard, the place animals go before slaughter. Everything is brand new. I will be the first and only tribute to use this launch room. The arenas are historic sites, preserved at the games, popular destinations for capital residents to visit to vacation, go for a month, rewatch the games, tour the catacombs, visit the sites where the deaths took place. You can even take part in reenactments. Okay. Oh. Right. Right. Hey. Let's go to this nice park that originated as a slaughtering ground of children. Hey man, awesome vacation spot, great Airbnb. The ground is still soaked in blood, by the way. Great spot, amazing pictures, dude. They say the food is excellent, of course. Right, of course. I struggle to keep my breakfast down as I shower and clean my teeth. Cinna does my hair in my simple trademark braid down my back. Hell yeah. Alright, when I go to like a stylist, I'm like, hey, give me that trademark braid down my back. And I show a picture of Jennifer Lawrence. Cinna has had no say in my outfit, does not even know what will be in the package, but he helps me dress in the undergarments, simple tawny pants, light green blouse, sturdy brown belt, and thin hooded black jacket that falls to my thighs. The material in the jacket is designed to reflect body heat. Expect some cool nights, he says. The boots worn over skin-tight socks are better than I could have hoped for. Soft leather, not unlike my ones at home. These have a narrow, flexible rubber sole with treads, though. Good for running. I think I'm finished when Cinna pulls the gold Mockingjay pin from his pocket. I had completely forgotten about him. Where did you get that, I ask. Off the green outfit you wore on the train, he says. I remember now taking off my mother's dress, pinning it to the shirt. It's your district token, right? I nod and he fastens it to my shirt. It barely cleared the review board. Some thought the pin could be used as a weapon, giving you an unfair advantage, but eventually they let it through, says Cinna. They eliminated a ring from that District 1 girl, though. If you twisted the gemstone, a spike popped out. Ooh. Oh. Poisoned one. She claimed she had no knowledge the ring transformed, and there was no way to prove she did, but she lost her token. There, you're all set. Move forward, make sure everything feels comfortable. I walk, run in a circle, swing my arms around. Yes, it's fine. Fits perfectly. Then there's nothing to do but wait for the call, says Cinna, unless you think you could eat any more. I turn down food but accept a glass of water that I take tiny sips of as we wait on a couch. I don't want to chew on my nails or lips, so I find myself gnawing on the inside of my cheek. It still hasn't fully healed from the few days ago. Soon the taste of blood fills my mouth. Yikes. Nervousness seeps into terror as I anticipate what is to come. I could be dead, flat out dead, in an hour. Not even. My fingers obsessively trace the hard little lumps on my forearm where the woman injected the tracking device. I press on it. Even though it hurts, I press on it so hard and a small bruise begins to form. Jesus, dude. Do you want to talk, Katniss? Cinna asks. I shake my head, but after a moment hold out my hand to him. Cinna encloses it in both of his. And this is how we sit under a pleasant female voice announces it's time to prepare for lunch. Still clenching one of Cinna's hands, I walk over and stand on the circular metal plate. Remember what Haymitch said. Run, find water. The rest will follow, he says. I nod and remember this. I'm not allowed to bet. But if I could, my money would be on you. Oh. Truly? I whisper. Truly, says Cinna. He leans down and kisses me on the forehead. Good luck, girl on fire. And then a glass cylinder is lowering around me, breaking our handhold, cutting him off from me. He taps his fingers under his chin, head high. I lift my chin and stand as straight as I can. The cylinder begins to rise. For maybe 15 seconds in a darkness, and then I can feel the metal plate pushing me out of the cylinder into the open air. For a moment, my eyes are dazzled by the bright sunlight, and I'm conscious only of a strong wind with the hopeful smell of pine trees. Then I hear the legendary announcer, Claudius Templesmith, as his voice booms all around me. Ladies and gentlemen, let the 74th Hunger Games begin. Oh, okay. We're on chapter 11, but before we end the stream, one, thank you all for joining this. Shout out to everyone watching. Let's bring out my buddy here. Let's bring out him one more time. He still doesn't have a name. He's just like right over here. Hold on. Hey. Get over here. Come on. Come on. Everybody, he's really shy. Come on. You can do it. There you go. Nice. Good job. Alright, now turn on the TV. There you go. Okay.
What the hell is that? You say you don't want to train with me, and then you say you're in love with me? Huh? Is that what you want to play? That's how you want to play? You made me look weak, Peter. What is this?
Whoa. He made you look desirable, sweetheart. And in your case, that's gonna help.
Hey. You know, I meant that as a compliment.
I know.
So, like, do you like me too? Because you didn't really explicitly say it all.
I don't like anyone, Peter. We are going to die tomorrow. The games, the Hunger Games. Great to see you. Hey, thanks for putting me in that skin-tight leotard. My camel toe was broadcasted around Pan Am, so everyone saw my lips. Really nice.
Feel good? How you feeling?
How am I feeling? I'm terrified.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I'd be terrified. I'd be freaking out if I was in your place.
Oh, thanks. It's the... Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for... Are all you people in the Capitol like this? You always...
I'm not allowed to bet, but if I could, I would bet on Kato. All right. Boop, have fun out there. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. You're gonna kill it. You're... Well... Grab that for you.
The kids are in the tubes.
Okay, wait. Can we change that phrase? That sounds weird. Does that not sound weird?
The kids are in the pipes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. All right, the kids are getting piped.
Alright.
600. 599.
Okay, no, you don't start at 600. That's in like 10 minutes.
Kids, sorry, we're starting over. 10.
Okay. Well, we are going to continue this. Also the video is called The Hunger Games but better. The Hunger Games but better, a parody. Definitely check it out. I'm going to end the stream here. Wave goodbye to my assistant here. He's very shy. Oh. Okay, he's back. So hold on. He'll go away now. Alright, see ya, bud. Wait, you can fly? Wait, when could you fly? Alright, so he flew away. Okay, well, I'm gonna end the stream. We are going to do chapter 11 to 15, maybe Tuesday? Most likely Tuesday. But sweet. Thank you all so much for watching. Shout out to everyone for joining. Death Angel, let's fucking go. RC Dragon, and Ebile, and Trainer Rico. Nice. Shout out to everyone in chat. yeah, I hope this VOD and everything pops off, and we can continue this, because Sunset of the Reaping movie is coming out in November, so there's a chance I might read through all the books before then. Alright, y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.